Would you like to learn to make your own root beer? Oh, that's tasty. Let me show you how. It's really easy. The ingredients for homemade root beer are really very simple. So the first thing you're going to need is some root beer extract. This is called the Big H, and we got it off Amazon. And when we bought it, it was easy to get. I'm not sure if it is now or not. You're going to need a half a bottle of this, so I just have it marked because I've already made a batch of this bottle. There's 4 ounces in this bottle, and this bottle says it will do 3 gallons. I like a half a bottle of this, so 2 ounces rather than a third of it. And you're going to need some yeast. This is winemaking yeast. I've made lots of different wines in the past. Haven't done any videos on them, but this is Lalvin 71B, and this makes a really good wine. You can also use champagne yeast. You could use bread yeast if you wanted to, but in my experience, wine or anything else made with bread yeast does have kind of a bread taste to it. For our purposes, what we're going to be doing today, we're going to use 71B. And then finally, brown sugar and white sugar, and then obviously water. Okay, we've set our ingredients to the side for now, and I'm going to show you what tools you're going to need. So we're just going to need something to stir our sugar and water mixture up in, our must if we were making wine, a funnel, a wire whisk, a 1-gallon pitcher, and then this is what we're actually going to be putting our brew in. And then finally, and this is optional, you can take a plastic bottle, and if this is the first time doing this and you're not sure, you don't want to break your glass bottle, you can try this. So what I've got here is just a little piece of silicone rubber, food safe, and it goes inside the cap. This has just a little teeny tiny hole in it. So that goes inside of there like that. You put equal amounts of your mixture into these bottles, and then you screw them down tight. And if you're using a bottle to tell when it's fully brewed, you can't do this. It's tight. And when it's tight, that's when you want to refrigerate it. But anyways, let's go ahead and make this stuff. So the first thing that we're going to start with is we're going to fill this halfway with water. Okay, we're going to start with a half a bottle of this Big H root beer extract. I've got an 8-cup measuring cup, and I'm just going to fill this up with warm water to the 2-cup mark. It needs to be warm because you need your sugar to dissolve. Dadgummit. Well, I didn't hit the record button, but you use 2.5 cups of white sugar, and you use 1 cup of packed brown sugar. You add that to your 2 cups of warm water with your root beer extract. And now we're just going to stir this until the sugar is dissolved. Okay, here is the yeast. We're going to put a 1/4 teaspoon of this 71B into water. And this water is about 85 to 90 degrees. If you get it too hot, you will kill your yeast. So we're just going to kind of stir this up. And then with your yeast, you can just fold it over. You can put a piece of tape on it and put it back in the fridge. This particular bag of yeast, I folded it over and put it in the fridge, I don't know, probably a year ago, and it's still working just fine. So I took it out I took it out 2 days ago to make this root beer, and I'm drinking it tonight, and it's awesome. So that's just looking like that. Give this one more quick stir. Okay, and I'm going to pour this mixture into the 1 gallon pitcher. And I'll go ahead and put some water in this so I can get the rest of it out. Okay, there we go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to fill up this pitcher to about here. We don't want to have too much in here because we need to have headspace in there. I'll fill this up with slightly warm water. I don't want it to be too hot because I don't want to kill the yeast. Okay, about there's where you want it, and then you just want to stir it up. And this is the time right now where you want to, if you need to make any adjustments, this is when you want to make them. So after you're done stirring it up, if you don't trust me or you want to just see what it tastes like, taste it now before you put the yeast in there, because you'll have a really yeast forward taste test if you don't, and you won't enjoy that. So just stir it up, put a little bit in the glass, try it, make sure that you like the sweetness, and you can always add a little bit more sugar. Okay, we've got it mixed up. And then we're going to, now that I don't need to taste this because I already know that it's to my liking. We're going to go ahead and take this yeast water, whatever you want to call it, and we're going to pour it in here. Okay, and now we're going to stir that up. Okay, now it's stirred up. We're going to go ahead and pour it into the bottle. And I'll slow down so that that foam can dissipate a little bit, because that foam will come out the top of your bottle. You can kind of knock down some of the foam if you just do that. Just swirl it around. Do the same thing when I'm making wine. I just kind of swirl that bottle and it will knock that foam down for you. Okay, that's about where you want it. You want it below the neck. You don't want it going into the neck. If you're using a glass container, you have to be really careful because you do not want a bottle bomb. It makes a huge mess. Okay, then you just place the cap on it. So I'll put it in my bedroom and I'll let this sit for 2 days and then put it directly into the fridge. That process is called cold crashing. And it's what it does is it basically is going to kill that yeast. It gets it down to a certain temperature and it will stop the formation of more carbon dioxide gas. And so that yeast will stop eating the sugar and turning it into alcohol. This particular root beer is about 0.5 to 1% alcohol, and with using yeast, you can't get away from that. It's going to have trace alcohol in it, just because that's what yeast and sugar do together. I hope you liked the video, and I hope you try it. I've been drinking it. I had pizza for dinner, and we drank this with our pizza, and it was delicious. I plan on bringing, I actually made 4 bottles, and I'll bring 2 of them to work for some of my coworkers to try. I hope you try this. I hope you like it. Thanks for watching.